What's up, crypto junkies? It's Jay, and welcome to another segment. Welcome to another show. Let's get into it, okay? I'm pretty fired up, as you can tell, and I got a lot to cover. So we're going to cover some of the news that you don't really see covered on a lot of other channels. Most crypto channels, especially on YouTube, what do you see? You see the main, they go down the middle is the best way to say it. The main stories, the EOS mainnet's been down more than BTC in just a couple days of it being up. Those types of stories, right? The BitThumb hack story, I'm sure every single YouTuber's talked about this, but I want to talk about some of this deeper stuff, right? And there's a point behind this. I brought this up the other day. I did a live stream, and we just talked about news, and we talked about really this underlying thread of market manipulation happening in crypto that a lot of people want to talk about it, but a lot of people don't, right? And so maybe they're just avoiding, maybe they don't really care, maybe they don't think it's possible or real, right? If a market can be manipulated, it will be manipulated. That's just the simple fact, okay? So one of the stories that I talked about was Tether lining up with a lot of the drops in Bitcoin. So the paper alleges that these instances may account for about 50% of the price increases of Bitcoin and 64% of other trading in the top 10 with Tether with the Tether issue dates. Right? And when you remember last year, there was this small little probing to get them to prove that one Tether's backed up by $1. Then Bitfinex lost its banking connections, and so everyone really called it into question, and they skirted the answer up until this was released just last week. Well, they responded, and of course they said, hey, this isn't true. The FSS report, based on a random date balance inspection and a full review of relevant bank account documentation, confirms that all Tethers in circulation as of June 1st, 2018 are fully backed by existing USD reserves. They actually brought in, believe it or not, because all the top firms would not touch them, they claim. They brought in, no, what am I going? This one. They brought in the FBI director's law firm to vet their finances. Very interesting. Who is it? It's this. Whatever, Sporkin, Sullivan, Freach, Sporkin and Sullivan, what a name, gosh. They brought them in to audit, but had access to the bank accounts for weeks, and good to go, okay? So they're claiming that, no, we're a stable coin, we're backed by $1, each Tether is backed by $1. You would have thought that this would be a good news piece and a positive news piece, but so far we haven't seen this reflected in the market because right now the market is still reacting to the BitThumb hack, okay? So BitThumb hack, this one. BitThumb hack has been a pretty big deal, as we can expect. This was the 19th. We saw a heavy downturn after that hit in the reaction, right? And so this is the reaction to Dorsey saying good stuff, and this is the reaction to bad things hitting. So very interesting just to kind of see the wave, right? And so most people out there, especially a lot of you watching this channel, you don't know how to do TA. You're following people all over Twitter, following people all over YouTube, trying to get your answers. A lot of this isn't as hard as it looks, right? Most people think trading and TA and learning the indicators, so hard, right? But at the end of the day, we're really not building rocket ships. We're just watching groupthink essentially happening, and we're watching markets repeat themselves and habits and human condition repeat itself over and over and over and over again. So remember this: in a strong market, FUD or bad news will not affect it. In a strong, healthy market, the negative news tends to not affect the market. In a weak market where the market cap is less than 300 billion, it will completely shit on the market. That's just how it is. Weak market, news affects it. Strong market, news doesn't affect it. It's much like bulletproof, armor, right? The stronger the armor, the less the bullets affect it. As the armor weakens, the more the bullets affect it. I don't know why I went with that analogy, but anyways, I hope that makes sense, right? And so anyway, this piece is one of many that I'm starting to notice pop out, right? Like we have some very interesting things happening and words being said recently. Steve Bannon's words stick with me. Control of currency is control of everything. I've got a growing list of articles and personal Medium blogs where people are starting to talk about manipulation. We have the CFTC probe happening, trying to figure out if manipulation is happening, which most likely they won't find too much, as these investigations seems to be a habit, really a pattern rather, with investigations not really turning up too much, not turning up huge bombshells. And, you know, the crypto market is still basically the Wild Wild West. So we can expect that there is manipulation happening. A lot of people has pegged this manipulation to the futures market, which the Tether, you know, the Tether analysis and research that was done, that one, I was just like, nah. I see it being more directly correlated with a bigger piece, which I think is the futures market. So if we look back to December 17th, when the futures market was released for Bitcoin, everyone remember before that, and I'm going to keep talking about this over and over again, and this will be a common thread, because I want you to like grasp onto that and look for that again. Look for moments in time with crypto when we were all rallying, when we were all talking $35,000, $40,000, and the futures market, the CME and CBOE futures market is going to catapult us to the next level. And then what happens? The market completely tanks, and we have corrected over 70% since then. And it's been predominantly a bear market, right? How could that have happened when so many smart people were talking 35, 40, 100,000? John McAfee, 250,000. Still people to this day talking 500,000. But if I were to start talking to you about, yeah, crypto can go to 500,000, not crypto, BTC can go to 500,000, you're way more likely to be like, yeah, Jay, bullshit right now. Because there's so much pain, right? And so much blood in the streets from the current market, it makes it hard to see this future reality that could exist. It could happen just as much as a lot of other realities could happen. It's hard to see that right now. But remember that moment in time when everyone was rallying, yay, the institutional money is coming. And then the exact opposite of what we thought was going to happen happened. And right now, we're on the brink of that in two more markets. We're on the brink of, well, it's already happening. Futures trading is going to start happening with, now that they got the green light from the SEC, with Litecoin and Ethereum. There's already talking going on about it, and these markets will be rolled out throughout the United States and throughout other exchanges and markets worldwide. When that opens up, understand that futures market is a future bet on the price of that stock or of that commodity, right? So a future bet for it to go up, a future bet for it to go down. These people, the big whales in this market, are not going to just bet blindly, okay? And all the news networks, let's just bring in the next layer, all the news networks in crypto so far are not big, credible, reputable news sites. CoinDesk, Cointelegraph, NewsBTC, Brave New Coin, they're all humans. They're all susceptible to manipulation. They're all susceptible to lobbying and payoffs and backdoor deals. And I'm not saying this stuff is happening by any means. I'm just saying it is possible, right? So now we got more possibility for that opening up, which will affect the overall market cap in the overall market. More specifically, it will affect these coins. Okay, so keep that in mind. I don't think there'll be as big of a, rallying cry that futures on LTC and ETH will, somehow save us. I don't see that happening, but I do see it being a big deal. And so one of the things that I talked about on the last video, when I talked about all this manipulation, and you can find a lot of correlation between a manipulation after the futures market launched in crypto on specifically Bitcoin. You can find similar happened with gold and silver over the last 25 years. Okay, that's where all this came from, in case you didn't know. That being in mind, there's a couple different outcomes for this, with the ultimate outcome being that Bitcoin will still be there. Bitcoin will survive through this unless the internet itself is shut off. Okay. So one possibility here is that, yes, all these people are right. There is manipulation going on, and they are trying to clean up by putting up future stake and leveraging that to the hilt to get real Bitcoin to become a whale in the market to then dictate the price and its future. Okay. Now that'll run out when either they get bored, they get caught, they get stopped, they get enough of the money or the currency that they want, and they're able to move into the next phase or do whatever they want at that point, which at that point they will still be able to heavily influence the market even when the market's much bigger, 2 trillion, 3 trillion, 20 trillion, less on the latter, but you get my point, right? So we have that outcome happening, and we also have another outcome happening, which is that they get caught and they don't get to, complete this master plan. But regardless of how it goes, we're always hedging against the bigger evil, which is hyperinflation. So no matter what, if they have all the Bitcoin in the world, when hyperinflation, let's say, happens, or when fiat currencies start to be rebuilt, reevaluated, remade, then the value of these digital currencies, specifically Bitcoin, will go through the roof. Now, I don't know which will be the more popular thing. Everyone run to precious metals, gold and silver, or crypto. I honestly think it'll be crypto because there's more adoption in crypto. There's more integration with the basic payment processing systems of our everyday life with crypto than there is gold and silver. Like, I could totally see people lopping off a chunk of gold and silver to go buy some groceries or go buy their shit. But that is not as easy right now in this current landscape as it would be to go and spend crypto. I really don't think it is. So that's my opinion on it. We had some big purchases of silver just happening, 665,000 ounces, I believe, of... Hold that thought. I really hate misquoting stuff, and it makes me mad when I do. Hold on. JP Morgan adds another 655,000 ounces of silver. Okay, so that's significant, and that's important because big players, there's a Warren Buffett quote that I used to have on my desktop in my background, and it was essentially, zig when they zag, dip when they duck, or duck when they dip, whatever. It essentially meant when everyone's thinking this thing, go do this thing. So when everyone's saying that, hey, the market's dead, we have people falling out of crypto right and left, being stomped out, fuck Bitcoin, I'm done with this stuff, all this is going on over here, guys are scooping it up on the cheap over here. Guys are scooping up gold and silver at all-time lows all the time as the market is being affected by news coming out and different situations happening all over the world, right? They are steadily accumulating all the time. They are always buying the dips, let's call it, okay? And it's because they know. Now, I will say when it comes to crypto, I don't think it's a good idea to buy up a ton of altcoins on these dips. Day trade altcoins hold Bitcoin. And I'm not the only one who says that. That's echoed through a lot of crypto, people. So anyways, my point going back to it all is who gives a shit if there's manipulation going on? Don't get stuck and get caught in being mad or getting emotional about that. Make a better plan. That's all we can ever do is make a better plan. So this shouldn't really affect you negatively. If anything, it should just motivate you and drive you to make a better plan or to make a first plan if you have nothing figured out right now. And that plan should be ultimately that everything leads back, everything goes directly back to building up your Satoshis of Bitcoin, not anything else, okay? Because the war and the divide on, we see tons happening with Ethereum after the SEC ruling. Litecoin is the next one to get attacked. Anything that's not Bitcoin, essentially, anything that's centralized, anything that had a CEO, a creator, a public face behind it will be treated differently than Bitcoin. And so my goal and the best bet that I'm hedging against is to have it mostly sitting in Bitcoin itself, okay? Now, I don't mind trading and getting in on good run-ups on different altcoins, getting involved in ICO projects, because my goal, are we good now? We good? Okay. My goal is that ultimately leads to more Bitcoin, all right? And so, yeah, at the end of the day, right or wrong with this manipulation stuff is just make a better plan, okay? So that's it for this video. If you like what we're doing here and it's the first time to the channel, go ahead, take a second and subscribe, hit the bell notification. That will ensure that in your subscription tab, you see more of our content. And please, please, please take a second, smash the like button, place a comment below, let me know your thoughts about the coverage that I just did and how you feel about it, what you're thinking. I'd love to hear from you. And just a quick note here. This video will not be edited. This is one that I wanted to get out to you immediately. So it'll be fresh, hot, no edits, no cuts, no nothing. You get to see me raw, just like it was a live stream. And I hope you enjoy that mix into the channel here. And like I said, please help us spread the good word, help our channel grow, help our community grow. Over 5,100 people strong now in a Discord. That'll be the very first link underneath this video if you want to join us. You do have to go through a small process to get your account fully unlocked, but it is free. At this point, no paid stuff, and you'll get full access to the community. A lot of amazing people in there, and I'm sure it will take you to the next level with your crypto journey. That's it, my friends. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you in training coming up very soon.